I just think it really fits some of what I'm dealing with and some of what I am learning how to raise these guys to deal with. Anyway, it says, society at large can't make up its mind about men. Having spent the last 30 years redefining masculinity into something more sensitive, safe, manageable, and well feminine, it now berates men for not being men. Boys will be boys, they sigh, as though if a man were truly to grow up, he would forsake wilderness and wanderlust and settle down, be at home forever in Aunt Polly's parlor. Where are all the real men? Is regular fare for talk shows and new books. You ask them to be women, I want to say. The result is gender confusion, never experienced at such a wide level in the history of the world. How can a man know he is one when his highest aim is minding his manners? And then alas, there is the church. Christianity, as it currently exists, has done damage to masculinity. When all is said and done, I think most men in the church believe that God put them on earth to be a good boy. The problem with men, we are told, is that they don't know how to keep their promises, be spiritual leaders, talk to their wives, or raise their children. But if they will try real hard, they can reach the lofty summit of becoming a nice guy. And that's what we hold up as models of Christian maturity. Really nice guys. We don't smoke, drink, or swear. That's what makes us men. Now let me ask any of my male readers, in all of your boyhood dreams growing up, did you ever dream of becoming a nice guy? Ladies, was the prince of your dreams dashing or merely nice? Really now, do I overstate my case? Walk around into most churches in America, have a look around, and ask yourself this question. What is a Christian man? Don't listen to what is said, look at what you find there. There's no doubt about it. You have to admit a Christian man is bored. At a recent church retreat, I was talking with a guy in his 50s, listening really about his own journey as a man. I pretty much tried for the last 20 years to be a good man as the church defines it. Intrigued, I asked him to say what he thought it was. He paused for a long moment. Dutiful, he said, and separated from his heart. A perfect description, I thought. Sadly, right on the mark. But God made the masculine heart, set it within every man, and thereby offers him an invitation. Come and live out what I meant you to be. Permit me to bypass the entire nature versus nurture is gender really built-in debate with one simple observation. Men and women are made in the image of God, as men and women. The green stuff.
I can't even hack it. I tried it with my Vital Reds and it didn't work. I'm like, oh, fine, I'm not done some orange juice with it. This is disgusting. No. It's straight sugar.
So, God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Genesis 1:27. Male and female. Now we know God doesn't have a body, so the uniqueness can't be physical. Gender simply must be at the level of the soul, or I would add, the level of the spirit. In the deep and everlasting places within us. God doesn't make generic people, he makes something very distinct. A man or a woman. In other words, there is a masculine heart and a feminine heart. There are dynamics of giving and dynamics of receiving, I would add, which in their own ways reflect or portray to the world God's heart. God meant something when he meant man, and if we are ever to find ourselves, we must find that. What has he set in the masculine heart? I would add, what has he set in the feminine heart? Instead of asking what you think you ought to do to be a better man, or become a better man, or for my female readers, I want to ask you, what makes you come alive? What stirs your heart? The journey we must now face is into a land foreign to most of us. We must head into country that has no clear trail. This charter for exploration takes us deep into our own hearts, into our deepest desires. When we think of Mr. Rogers, when we think of Jesus, frequently we think of Mr. Rogers with a beard. We can answer that question later. We think of the world's nicest guy. Not that there's anything wrong with Fred Rogers. His expression of masculinity was his expression of masculinity. He found what he was made to do, and he did it with excellence. The point that I want to underscore is this idea of we declaw our men and our women, and we assault masculinity and femininity. And we haven't learned that Jesus, or we've forgotten that Jesus was in construction in a blue-collar job, working with a bunch of blue-collar construction workers. And we forget that by nature, he was made for hard work, and he worked with fishermen. He worked with terrorists. He worked with politicians. He worked with business owners.
It's not good. Oh, they're not good.
He worked with all kinds of people. And so when Jesus is having these conversations, my yoke is easy, my burden is light, the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. What is it lawful to do on the Sabbath days? A bruised reed shall he not break. Even inside of the most masculine men, such as Peter, there can be a smoldering wick. Even inside of the girliest girl, there can be strength. And it's something that Father wants to recuperate and recover in us and with us with our permission. And he offers us an invitation to an adventure to find the dangerous parts. We talk about going and being dangerous. And one of the things that we're learning how to recover is what it actually means to take the fruit of the Spirit and to use that to temper and to bring ourselves to the full expression of our masculinity, gentlemen, our femininity, ladies, and then those of us who have masculine and feminine portions of our spirit, those things that are necessary for their full expression. So when he's talking about the internals, he's talking about desire. What's really inside of you? If your highest aim is to be a really nice guy, and that's the culture's aim for you or the church's aim for you, then we have an issue. If our only mentality is a bridal mentality, a feminine mentality, and we have no kingdom mentality, building, excavating, digging, constructing, then we're missing at least half the picture. Matthew's gospel is on the execution of the kingdom. It's a builder's gospel. He hands us bucket after bucket of principles so that we can execute based on the desires that are inside of us. So the next segment in Matthew's Gospel, chapter 12, verses 22 through like 32, I'm only going to cover the first couple of verses because there's something that I want to deal with here. It's a builder's segment. Then was brought unto him one possessed with a devil, blind and dumb, and he healed him, insomuch as the blind and the dumb both spoke and saw. And the people were amazed and said, Is this not the Son of David? But when the Pharisees heard of it, they said, "This fellow does not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of devils." So Jesus posed a threat, an actual legitimate threat, to the institutions of power. Because he threatened to dismantle their religious mentality, because he was building. He was at work. We have a responsibility to likewise, Jesus said, my Father is working and I am working. And we have a responsibility to step into that. Now, am I saying that there's this hyper-masculinized, abusive type of mentality? No. But what I am saying is that there is a danger to which we are called, and especially those of us who are created as men. We are not made to merely live as whatever the church tells us we're supposed to live as, but as God tells us we're supposed to live as. And that means we build things. In order to build things, sometimes you have to tear things down that are not square, not plumb, not aligned with the fullness of the foundation. If somebody hands you a foundation that is off, and you know that is off, and they force you to build on it, your responsibility is to say, no, the foundation is off. I can't build on this. And to tell them where it is off, or to tear it down yourself, right down to the place where the foundation is misaligned or not in a proper place, and with the help of the general contractor, named Jesus, who was in construction and was a general contractor, who oversaw the project, re-square and re-plumb and realign the foundation so that you can build properly. And if that offends some people, you're going to have to deal with the fact that people are going to most likely be offended with you, because you can see something they can't see. My dear, do you have anything to add?
No. Did a good job.
So, be forewarned that you are going to be handed foundations from other people and commanded to build upon them, even within charismatic churches, and the foundations are going to be off. And God is going to allow this to happen to you as a test of your mettle, your will, your character, and your fortitude, to see if you buckle under pressure, or if you do what you were made to do and tear down the superstructure that is off. So, from us at the gathering at Beersheba, we wish to bless you with a happy Sunday morning. Be blessed.